Hello, I'm Philip Byer. My filibuster today will be about productivity scoreboarding. Now, I hope you've watched our other video on waste scoreboarding. If so, I'll repeat a few things. I will be sharing with you something very few companies have, large or small, and that is live productivity scoreboards. I would like to start out by asking you this question. Would you attend a sports event that didn't have a scoreboard to let you know at a glance who was winning and who was losing? I dare say you wouldn't. Because in most sports, you play to win, and a scoreboard quickly lets you know that. It keeps the game interesting and everyone rooting for their team. People want to know the score. Simply, that's what scoreboarding's all about. In the same way, in business, with just a glance, people should know if they're winning or losing. Scoreboards are ever present, thus it removes the dilemma of out of sight, out of mind. I've found during many years of systemization there are two huge areas where companies bleed money: poor productivity of employees and rework causing wasted time and materials. This video is about measuring and improving productivity. As an owner or manager, an area that's hard to get under control is the productivity of employees or team members. The more employees, the more difficult the task, especially without a good system to help you, like floor data collection software. Now, things owners and managers must consider when measuring productivity. What are the employees working on at any given time? How long should it and did it take an employee to complete a certain process? Is the process they're working taking longer than estimated? And what was charged? Now, if you have floor data collection software, that's a great start. However, you still have to pull reports to get the productivity information, which costs time and money to have someone do it. And by the time someone pulls the reports, many times you're looking in the rearview mirror at old information, which makes it hard to be proactive. If you're looking at old data, it's more of a challenge to meet with someone in order to inform them that they're too slow in performing a process that has been completed maybe a month ago. I would hope that if you do meet with someone regarding productivity or lack thereof, you consider, does the person know how long it should take? Do they know what the standard is for their industry? Do they have the tools necessary to complete a process in the estimated time? Are the tools they're using up to specs in order to complete a process in the given time? From my experience working with companies, most owners and managers don't have a clue what the estimated versus actual times are. Therefore, the employees don't have a clue, so they can't possibly know what is expected of them. Employees are participating in a game in which there's no scoreboard. Therefore, they can't see at a glance if they're winning or losing. You may be thinking, hey, Philip, work's not a game. I would argue that if you make it a game and let everyone know the score, most people want to win whether working or playing. Yeah, but what about those who don't seem to care? Again, I would argue that when they see other team members showing good scores, they will at least try to keep up. However, if they don't want to win and they continue having losing scores, they know it, you know it. In fact, everyone will know it. That's if you have a live productivity scoreboard. Here's what we've seen from low performers in our workplace. Their peers begin to encourage them to at least maintain acceptable numbers in order to maintain acceptable overall department numbers. Some call it peer pressure. A great system tends to expose the good and the bad. Now, at some point, an owner or a manager must make the decision whether to allow a low-performing individual to remain on the team with losing numbers. What would a coach of a sports team do? I hope before making a decision to throw someone off the team or changing their position, management has considered and tested the following. Are the estimated times to perform processes accurate? Have the processes been measured and timed? Does your industry have standards for certain processes that must be maintained in order to be competitive? Most owners know if they allow too much time to complete processes, the company will not be competitive. So the estimated numbers need to make sense and be fair. We've seen by having productivity scoreboards that individuals will speak up immediately and loudly when they believe estimated times for a process are not accurate, which helps the company. It's a benefit when someone speaks up because at that point, management can reevaluate the estimated time it takes to do the process, which improves the accuracy of your estimates, which improves the accuracy of the workload schedule, which improves the bottom line. Win, win, win. Everybody wins. Yes, I would argue, work's a game that's played every day. Sadly, however, in some cases, the game being played is where the owner rarely wins because they have no system for seeing real productivity scores or what the employees are actually doing. There are two parts that make up total productivity: estimated versus actual time and unchargeable hours versus payable hours. Estimated time is simply the time you've estimated for completing a process, and actual time is simply the real time taken to complete the process. Unchargeables are simply things we must do in business that's not charged to our customers, like our own equipment maintenance and repairs, cleaning up around the shop, training of our employees, and so on. Payable hours are simply the amount of hours we pay someone for any given period. Unchargeables greatly affect overall productivity. If you have too many unchargeables, you won't make a profit. How do you measure total productivity? First, you find the ratio of estimated time versus actual time by simply dividing the estimated time by the actual time. It gives you a ratio. Example: if you've estimated a process to be completed in 1 hour, and that's what you charge the customer for, but it takes someone 2 hours, then the estimated versus actual productivity for that process is 0.50 or 50%. Not very good. The next thing we need to find is the ratio of unchargeable hours versus payable hours. Simply divide the unchargeable hours by the payable hours gives you the ratio. Example: let's say for a certain day you've paid someone for 8 hours work. However, 2 of those hours they clean the shop, which are considered unchargeable hours. Now divide the 2 unchargeable hours by the 8 paid hours, which equal 0.25 or 25% unchargeable hours, which is also not very good. By combining these two ratios, you arrive at total productivity. Okay, let's do a 40-hour work week and find the total productivity for a John Doe. If you paid John for 40 hours and 10 hours were unchargeable time, the ratio would be 0.25 or 25% unchargeable hours. Let's assume we pulled a report on John of his estimated versus actual hours and found that for that week he had jobs that were estimated to take 25 hours to complete. However, the actual hours John spent working on those jobs were 30 hours, meaning John lost 5 hours of production time. These are hours you can't charge for, and therefore they're also considered unchargeable hours. So, to figure John's total productivity, you take 10 hours of his unchargeable hours and add the 5 lost hours. This gives you a total of 15 hours of unchargeable or unbillable hours. Now, divide the 15 total unchargeable hours by the 40 payable hours and subtract from 100. You arrive at 63% total productivity for John's 40-hour work week. Not very good. This is how a company can bleed out before they get a handle on as to why. The good news for individuals who are competitive and want to have better scores is, if they beat the estimated versus actual times, it will reduce their total unchargeable hours, giving them better productivity numbers. Back to the John Doe example. Let's say John beat his estimated versus actual times by 5 hours. You then subtract the 5 gain hours from his regular unchargeable hours. So his 10 hours of regular unchargeable hours minus the 5 hours saved by beating the estimated versus actual times brings his total down to only 5 unchargeable hours. Therefore, 5 unchargeable hours divided by 40 payable hours minus 100 gives you 87.5% total productivity instead of only 63%. What we've found since installing our productivity scoreboards are estimated versus actual times for everyone has improved. Our estimates are more precise, thereby improving profits. Our workload schedules are much more accurate. Unchargeable hours have decreased. Live productivity scoreboards are much more effective than having management hovering over people in production in order to keep the team moving. As I wrote in my book, System Busters, How to Stop Them in Your Business, people don't want to be managed. With a great system, people can and will manage themselves while owners and managers manage the system. And at some point, if you decide to award or bonus people for improved productivity, scoreboards are great tools for measuring fairly. Oh, did I mention, great systems work.